Lee Walker, the world seniors champion. He reckons this could be his last snooker he plays competitively. But he's here with one of the biggest beasts in the snooker jungle. And Alan, I know you are a big fan of this event.
Yeah, definitely. It's right up there, isn't it? 10th year, 10th staging. The first event to return to ITV 9 years ago, and it's grown rich history now. But yeah, what a big day this is for Lee Walker. If it is to be his swan song at this sort of level, then let's hope he puts in a good strong performance.
He has a reputation well earned as being a very tough competitor, and as we saw at the start, he leads the head-to-head 2-1. The first of those wins was before Selby became a top player in World Qualifying 2004, but the second was when Selby was world champion at the World Open 2017. Selby's win came at the Gibraltar Open 2020. Of course, he's the only one here, Mark Selby, oddly enough, who has not actually won a title. He is in off the world ranking list. His last title was at the World Championship 18 months ago. Well, there's a very recognisable face, doing his own Twitter commentary probably, no Mark Williams, but of course he's here. He's driven Lee Walker here. And he will be in his corner this afternoon.
Yeah, here's a typical clever Selby shot. Cushion first, push the red back down. And keep it above the blue spot to create a problem for Lee. I don't think he's going to be found wanting in these exchanges, the early exchanges of frames, Lee Walker. Clever player, knows the game inside out, this fella. Just addressing the right side of the cue ball, so he's looking for in behind the green. And that's always the problem, isn't it? So, first semblance of an opening. The world senior champion. It's all about this cue ball, pink and black waiting.
One.
Yeah, just overcooked. Just a hair too much pace, and he can't play the pot now. He's found quite a nasty spot here. He's looking like he can't thin the pink and not contact a red. He might be forced to skim the pink and have to glance a red, and by doing that he's not sure where the cue ball is going to finish. Let's just see if he can avoid glancing the red. The fact that he's digging down, he's taking the pink on. Oh, fantastic. Took his time deliberating of what shot to play, but it was worth the wait. This is a great chance.
7.
Yeah, and the fact that, and we heard in the interview with Rob talking about, you know, he's heavily into coaching, his playing career is probably done after this event. It makes him very dangerous, doesn't it? Because in a way, everything's a bonus. He's got all the experience in the world. He got to the quarterfinals of the World Championship back in 1997. And at the Crucible, to win that World Seniors, he beat a host of really well-known players. Here's some names for you.
8.
Tony Knowles, Stephen Hendry, Ken Doherty. Then from 3-0 down in the semis against the defending champion David Lilly, 1-4-3. From 4-2 down in the final, he beat the great Jimmy White 5-4.
Just evidence there in that shot, and it's normal. The first match in this sort of tournament, the cushions play a little bit softer first up. Something to bear in mind.
We saw his son Noah as Lee came down the steps, just supporting him very proudly. There he is. Big day for the family. As Lee said, his father passed away in July, so this is his first tournament without him, but he's got his own son here. And this is a very promising start.
Twenty-one. Twenty-two.
'He's just trying to figure out the pattern which he wants to go about this. That red on the top side of the table might help him. He decides to play on blue off this next red. Talking of help, I think on 2 counts this match
28.
today, a couple of things might help him. The fact that this might be his swan song as a player at professional level, and just the fact he's playing on TV in a huge event might free him up and try to get better rhythm.
$29.
Again, evidence, soft cushions. So he's just gone a wee bit awkward.
Lee Walker, 29.
Yeah, it was just a bit trickier than he wanted, I guess. He was going well until he left himself just a little awkward. Mark Selby has played in every Champion of Champions. This is the 10th staging, as I said earlier. Best he's done is 2 semi-finals. Of course, last season Selby was dealing with off-table issues, so Snooker took a back seat. But he's shown signs already in this campaign of the form returning. Of course, the wonderful maximum that we watched in Milton Keynes was evidence of that. Yeah, tried to drop in behind the blue, but as you see, misjudged it.
One.
Really struck that with great authority, didn't he? So Mark Selby, he's in this opening frame. He made that maximum in the event 4 years ago, still the only one we've had in the Champion of Champions.
Six. Seven.
One of these visits where with the pink and black where they are, cue ball having to do a lot of travelling back for blue.
Yeah, just potted that on the thin side, hence losing the cue ball farther to the right as we see it, and getting the awkward cannon.
Mark Selby, 12.
Slightly edgy start, but that's not unusual. This is the first match of the tournament, of course, and it's a big week. This is an event everyone wants to get into. And of course, apart from Selby this year, everyone who is in it has won something. So it's the players who've been gracing the showpiece matches as the year's gone on who've made it here.
Typically clever shot, almost returning the earlier shot by Mark, playing cushion first, which meant that he could get the red above the blue line.
Foul. Lee Walker 4.
Yeah, so the in-off is going to present Lee with a test of cueing. I think that's clever. Just free the cue ball from the green. You don't really want it close to the green. It kind of puts you off the strike of the shot.
I guess the other thing for Walker is he's sort of trying to get used to this environment again, and he's not played a match of this size for quite a while because he's not currently on the tour. Didn't get through the Q school again last season. Oh, now we've got a little visitor. Brendan will be very humane here, I'm sure. Well, he's going to hold it in his hands for now. Didn't put Selby off. Brendan Moore's going to release it back into the wild. Yeah, he didn't put Selby off because Mark Selby played a match at the Crucible against Yan Bingtao where a pigeon invaded the arena, so that's nothing to him.
Seven. Eight.
Yeah, good pot. He's had a few looks at this black. He's okay with it. The fact that the cue ball is pretty much where he'd put it if he had ball in hand. So it shouldn't be a problem. Ah, that's superb. I mean, it didn't look it, but what it does is it sets up, well,
15.
a possible, a long way to go, but a possible frame winning chance. Such a precise
6.
positional shot.
$22. Yeah. 20.
I always think this shot is the best there is. It's one of the, you know, you say it should be quite straightforward, this deep screw on and off cushion, but he gets through the cue ball with this and he wants to play longer. So he's really going deep there and getting the cue ball out of that corner because he's guaranteed good position that way.
30.
So 9 in front. Let's say 3 red blacks, so 9 and 24, 33 is going to need all 4 reds on the frame at this visit.
$31. $38.
Yeah, just lost the cue ball, so that's end of break.
Yeah, you could see the slight annoyance. Selby was starting to look good. He was in the groove. But one thing we know about Mark Selby, he's extremely patient. He'll try and wait for another chance.
Mark Selby, 38.
Also 17 in front.
Yeah, it's quite a poor mistake that, for a player of Lee's quality. So big shot this, pink and black waiting. Not massive surprise to see him miss that on the thick side. He play that shot with just a hint of right hand side, but early on in a brand new cloth, he pushed the cue ball thicker. Hence the missed pot. Yeah, this might be worth having a go at, because with Mark needing all 3 reds, even if he misses and leaves, Mark would still have a big job to win the frame, so this is worth a dart.
One. Eight. 9.
So 26. Blue to come. Pockets tend to play that bit easier, as we know. First up, so dead weight with this next red will be the way to play it. So the fact that they tend to slide in, fancy him to get this.
Mark Selby.
Yeah, you saw it catch the cushion on the way down. And it didn't drop, so Lee Walker then gets a reprieve.
One.
And of course it's early doors, as we know, and that shot that Mark had there, of course we're playing on the beautiful Rasson tables this week, which isn't the norm. So they don't have all that much experience, recent experience anyway, of how these tables tend to play along the cushion. I just overcooked it.
Eight.
The only thing with that shot that Lee played, if he goes the other way, the cue ball's last path would have been going towards the yellow. He's going across the line of position the way he played it, so the premium on getting good position was much more
They will
difficult,
pick
just the
eight.
way that he played it.
Wow, well that could have been a lot worse, I guess, if the white goes in. Rare misjudgment from Selby.
Foul. Mark Selby.
Yeah, it was one of those, he just had to gamble, because playing it with pace, the pot becomes a bit easier, so that was why he played it with pace. But of course he would have known he'd have been close to the in-off. So 27 to the good, no heroics with the cue ball. Virtual frame ball this.
2. Five.
Well, Walker, I'm sure, will reflect he had a lot of chances in this frame, including that latter one, because he was in first as well. Now 29, but Mark Selby has chipped away, as he does,
9.
and he is going to win the first frame of this year's Champion of Champions.
20.
So we're off and running here in Bolton. Mark Selby just sort of testing the table here, maybe feeling it's not quite running true. Day one of the Kazoo Champion of Champions here in Bolton. Mark Selby leads Lee Walker 1-0. This is a best of 7. The winner plays tonight, the winner of our next match this afternoon between John Higgins and Hussein Vafai.
Thank you. The second frame. Mark Selby to break.
Yeah, Walker had made the early running in that frame and had a few more chances after that, but that's the thing. It's all very well saying, you know, everything's a bonus, I'm here to enjoy it, but he's a snooker player, and when you get out there, you want to win and you want to produce your best, and you would have been a little frustrated with a couple of things that happened, I think, in the first frame.
One.
So he's in immediately in this frame and looking for maybe a cleaner kill than the opener, which was very scrappy. Our last event on ITV, the British Open, he was a quarter-finalist, and he also reached the quarter-finals recently of the Northern Ireland Open in Belfast.
4.
You just feel with his mind back on the green bays this season, he's going to come good at some point.
Eleven. Well.
I think in some ways, Mark, this
90.
last year or so, something of a transitional period of his career, in that for the first time in, well, a dozen,
20.
going on 15 years, he's in a position where on the end of season ranking he's 21. He's going to lose
The second mark, please.
all those points that he gained at the Crucible 18 months ago, come Crucible time, come the end of season. So he's in a position where he's got to make a bit of hay. And as I say, the last dozen years or so, it's been going through season after season, picking up, if not one, then 2 or 3 titles per season.
26.
But as David said, the season so far has been pretty good. Showed a lot of good signs of recent
27.
form.
Yeah, it looks like he'll definitely be in the World Grand Prix, which obviously is a tournament where you can pick up further points, try and push on to our next Players Series event, the Players Championship, and then the Tour Championship. Well, he went into them full-blooded, didn't he? But you always need just a little bit of
32.
fortune as well to actually land on one.
33.
Yeah, dead still there, isn't he? And now this is looking a good chance to win this second frame.
$36. $37.
Yeah, the scoreboard's interesting. 44 and 24 would be 68 without the 5 reds in the middle, but playing for blue means that he now needs one of those 5 reds in the
45.
bunch. So I guess there's no time like the present. Perfect angle to a mid-pace shot. Expect these to separate nicely. Yeah, well played. A wee bit unfortunate if he's not on the red to right corner, because he played it nicely. But if body language tells us anything, he looks pretty comfortable with it, so there we go.
$51.
It's that shot again I said earlier, isn't it? The straight black, getting the cue ball working out. Brilliant at
58.
that. It's not so much recycling the break, but it just keeps it going back in prime position.
59.
And frame ball coming up after this black.
Yeah, Lee Walker played poor safety at the start of the frame to give Selby the opening. We tend to pigeonhole players, call Selby gritty and tenacious and all that.
66.
He's also a terrific break builder. Maybe it's not said enough, but we're seeing it here. And very quickly,
67.
he's got himself to 2-0.
$74. $75.
Here's the shot again. Watch the cue ball spin. That just off straight, so didn't go deep on it, but yeah, he's now looking really good.
82.
Well, he would have
Oh,
blocked the
Selby,
century
82
course.
round
It
of
was a
play.
surprising miss, but the damage had been well and truly done. A swift 82 in just 8 minutes. Mark Selby going well here on the first afternoon of the Champion of Champions. He's just made a swift 82 break to lead Lee Walker 2-0.
Thank you to third frame. Lee Walker to break.
Remember, the two winners this afternoon play each other tonight. So the winner of this match will play either John Higgins or Hossein Vafai, and they will advance to the semi-finals at the weekend. Well, It's a mistake, and it could be a big one. Quite rare error, really, from Selby.
One.
Yes, he's just underrun for this pink, so it's a big blue coming up here. If there's to be any way back in the match, it's really got to start here with this shot. Nicely done.
Yeah, it's a feel-good shot, that, isn't it? It was almost a copy of the red that he missed in frame one when he had ball in hand to this left corner. So, good adjustment. Let's see if he can find another good piece of ball striking.
Lee Walker, 6.
It's I think it's a side of the game now, or an element of the game. Those mid-range pots that we think of. Well, the obvious one would be someone like Neil Robertson. He just devours them. He eats them up. Almost never misses them. They're so key to keeping breaks going. Huge part of the modern game.
Six. Seven.
Yeah, quite deliberately here. He's going to try and, I think, clear that pink spot as best he can. Get those two reds shifting, get them moving. Power in, maybe. Yeah, not quite. So pink and black are going to be pretty much out of commission, I think. Just looking at the line that this is going to go on. Confirmed by referee Brendan Moore. So work off the blue for the time being. That's fantastic, isn't it? You know, it's solved that problem in one shot here, going into the red pink. He might gamble here with a lot of pace to shift pink and black. Now, I tried to be gentle with it, but it always looked likely that. So
90.
I think, again, it was a smart play because now that he's in stroke and he's got control of the match at the moment, just build the lead.
$23. $24. $29.
Yeah, another attempt to get the big colours out. Didn't quite come off.
$30.
And this is the problem when there's so much travelling that White's got to do. Eventually, likely you're going to lose position. So it's back to just being patient again. You won't want to do anything
Selby
reckless because Lee Walker at the moment needs an easy starter. And you can't afford to hand him that, so quite the opposite, in fact. He's put him in behind the green.
It looks like he's thinking about trying to rest on the red that's touching the black, or virtually touching the black. Yeah, it's not the one he was playing on. The cutback may be on.
Surrendered at the last minute. Looked like he'd overcut it at first. This is shaping up to be one of those not particularly memorable frames, but they all count the same. And to win tournaments, you need to win a high percentage of them. You look at Mark Selby's Crucible record at the World Championship. You have to win 71 frames every year to win that tournament. They're not all going to be centuries, clearly, so it's often the more nondescript frames can win the vast majority, then obviously it's a big step towards winning titles.
$6.
Yeah, just talking of his upcoming ranking issues at the moment, end of season 21st place, largely because I was looking back at his record. He hasn't beaten a current top 16 player. He hasn't beaten
11.
Any of those for 10.5 months. Going back to the last,
12.
just before Christmas, the Grand Prix. Where he beat Mark Allen. So that's a long time for a player of Mark's class, obviously, to not get victories that have been commonplace down the years. That's in a knockout event.
Seventh. Eight.
Well, it looked like that shot would open things up, actually. The red has now run rather safe. But he's pressing on. He's got a good lead with balls awkward. It's a good lead to have.
Oh, that's a great effort. What a shot that is. Honestly, on a strange clock, or he's had 2.5 frames, but
23.
playing it with bundles of left-hand side. Fantastic shot. Best shot of the match by a distance, that.
Yeah, and he just needs this black now.
24.
And Lee Walker's back in the snooker's required stage. So, as I say, it won't be the frame of the tournament, but it's a step towards Mark Selby continuing in the tournament.
Yeah.
And the thing with the rankings is all those points coming off, of
31.
course, there's plenty of time before May for points to go on. And there's some big tournaments. Obviously, this is not a ranking event, but the UK Championship, first prize there is $250,000. So your fortunes can turn round with one good week. The bottom line is with Mark Selby, if he's in the right frame of mind, then he's very, very dangerous. Because his determination is well known to everybody.
Yeah, the other thing with this frame, as David said, it's not been an eye-catcher, nothing like it, but just thinking back on it in this last 10 or 15 minutes or so, how many bad shots has Mark played? The answer is none. And that's why, regardless of form or, say, eye-catching play, he's so difficult to play against.
40.
Yes, and he's not really missed anything of significance, has he, really? 96% on the pot success for the match. I'm sure he's sick of us constantly saying he's not won a tournament on ITV.
47.
Well, there's one way to end that and to stop us, and that's to win one.
Mark Selby.
Well, the break ends, but it was a pretty masterful frame all round that from Selby. He just controlled things really well, and he's got the reward he was looking for. And in what, 50? Mark Selby and Lee Walker, the first match here at the Champion of Champions. A wonderful arena here in Bolton, and the start of a great week. But Mark Selby looking the big favourite to continue into this evening because he leads 3-0. And he needs one more for victory.
Thank you, friend, for Mark Selby to break.
And after that very scrappy opening frame, he's been really fully in control. He made that 82 that could have been a century in frame 2, and then really controlled things in the third as well. Lee Walker, I'm sure, does not want to depart without showing us what he can do here. He's much in demand for coaching. He's, of course, using all his experience, passing it on to the next generation, in particular young Liam Davis, who is a very exciting prospect from Wales. He became the youngest player at 15 to win a match in the World Championship. last season, and this year he's won the world title at the under-21, under-18 and under-16 age divisions. So he's got Lee in his corner, and great excitement for the years ahead.
One.
That's more like it. Now let's see if that's the style of something.
Eight. Nine. $16.
It was a bit of a gamble, that, especially playing it with a tracer right-hand side, which he did. I mean, a lot of players in the modern day would have played that with maybe a hint of left to encourage the cue ball to stay high. You see, when it comes off the cushion, there's a bit of right on it, and it jags down the way. So the intent of the shot was good, but not the end result. But he can solve that in one fell swoop with a good long red to far corner. A wee bit of pressure on it with a couple of reds to left middle on offer.
Lee Walker, 60.
Well, he's got the cover, but will Mark entertain the swerve?
This sort of sums up his afternoon, doesn't it? The fact he's gone over the pocket okay. So he can't hit it directly. There's another red onto middle. And yeah, he's got the confidence to just get down and knock that in, even though there's a red over the pocket. Mark Selby looks in full control of himself this afternoon. So this is his first chance to get this match won.
Six. Seven.
I guess Lee Walker is a bit ring rusty when it comes to competitive play. He's been focusing on his coaching. He's back out in the middle against one of the all-time greats in quite a short match in front of this crowd and everyone
13.
watching on TV. So it's hard to sort of just click into gear, and time clearly running out. He's out of his hands whether he gets back to the table now.
$60. 7.
Yeah, so for once this afternoon, wrong side of blue. Can't go round. All three cushions can't go round yellow, green, brown. Whichever way he plays this, it's difficult to avoid collision. Oh, this is a sign of confidence. The off straight green. Well, brown actually. And again, this is clever because if he overcooks this, the red goes, the one that's farthest to the right. Brilliant shot, just a brilliant shot. He's played on the open one, but almost overcooking it because he knows if he does, he's got one waiting.
21.
But just the fact that he played the brown alone tells you something about his confidence level.
Mark Selby,
And
21.
then he overcuts the red. Just as it was starting to be looking like end of match, Lee Walker does come back to the table. This has been a feature, Selby, in recent times, just not quite killing matches off clinically. We saw it in Belfast recently in the Northern Ireland Open. He had match ball to beat Tamad Mir 4-0 and didn't pot it and sort of scrambled through 4-2 in a much longer evening than it probably should have been.
One. Lee Walker, 1.
Yeah, just struggling for any rhythm. I mean, he's reached that point of the match we often say, don't we, when back to the wall, your next shot could be your last, and he's not a player that's cut from the sort of cloth that you think, right, okay, I'm going to loose arm it here and just have a go at a few. He's not really a rhythm type of player. Oh, and that's worked out beautifully.
Seven. Eight.
So Selby looking to apply the finishing touches, and of course he'll have quite a nice break before this evening's group decider. John Higgins and Hussein Vafai waiting in the wings for match 2.
50. Six.
Yeah, and if it is to be Lee Walker's last dance as a tour professional, it's been good to see him out in this stage. Deserved it after lifting that world senior title, but
24.
he's a snooker man through and through, and it is to be his last shot. he'll be involved in the game for many years to come. Sure of that.
Yeah, I echo that. He's got a lot to still contribute. I mentioned Liam Davis. We're following his progress with interest. And of course, he's still very much
31.
in Mark Williams' corner as well. Can't see Mark now in the
32.
arena. He may have gone to start the car for the long drive home. Mark Selby then a couple of balls away from wrapping this up, and overall I think he'll be
37.
delighted with how he's played. Okay, maybe he's not been put under as much pressure as he will be later in the event, but he's still, in all departments, looks very solid.
38.
So this black and Lee Walker will need 2 snookers. And even there, he played that with great control. He didn't just sort of smash the black in and
45.
hope for the best. He came round, he looked at the reds because he wants to kill this off. He doesn't want playing on for snookers. And now there's not going to be any.
46. $53. 54. $61. 63.
Well, that was topping.
$66.
He said himself it was a very tall order before the match even began.
70.
Mark Selby looking for his first title, remember, since he became world champion for the 4th time 18 months ago.
75.
And he's taken the first step towards winning this
81.
champion of champions for the first time.